Hello, fellow members of the league. As we begin the 2022 fantasy football season, weed and boys, you guys would probably like to have your draft order. Some of you are wondering, what's taking you so long, Jim, to get a draft order? Well, not gonna lie, the fuck's this camera? Been out at seas for the last couple weeks. You may be wondering, oh, where'd you go? That's irrelevant. Others may be wondering, oh, who'd you go with? That's even more irrelevant. What is relevant is that I'm getting your guys' draft order to make sure that you have ample amount of time to get ready for this one, which is at Wednesday, September 5th. I think it's September 7th or the 8th. It's one of the two, but it's Wednesday. So this should give you plenty of time. I've talked with people before. They said that sometimes they only get an hour before, so sounds like getting 48 hours is cream of the crop, if you ask me. For those of you that are involved in baseball and still in it, good luck. For those who aren't in it, sorry about your luck. It just doesn't work like that some years. I'm very intrigued to see A, who's going to get the first, and B, what they're going to do with it. Because you got the consensus Jonathan Taylor. But do most running backs normally repeat? I don't know. Then you got people like Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase who are just off the wall with talent. But, as you guys can see, those are your 12 names. I don't know which is in which order. I just know they're all in this hat right here. You can see them, kind of. Just going to shuffle them up. Mix them around, give it a good old shake. Flop them up a little bit. And then once they're all up to standard, we're going to stick our hand in here, look over here towards the wall to give you your first overall pick of the 2022 PPR. 1 flex, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, a quarterback, a defense, and the all-important kicker league. So here we go. Let's start it off. Without further ado, we're going to jumble these up. And I'll look over here. And your first pick in this year's 2022 NFL Draft is the man who needs it the most. The one who's going to be applying for his AARP card next week. Justin, you got the number 1 pick. My favorite thing about it is, sure, you get the best player, but you also get the worst player in the second round. So let's speed it up with the second pick. Second pick in this year's NFL Fantasy Football Draft is... Ooh, Dolan. That should spice it up a little bit. Hope all is well with you. Haven't talked to you in a bit, but if you're doing as well as the weather, you're probably doing all right. So the number 3 pick in this year's draft, let's get inside the hat. It is going to be Kohler. I ain't gonna lie, Kohler. I see your team some year, and I'm like, what is he thinking? But in all honesty, like 4 out of the last 5 years, you've probably done better than me. So, no room to judge. No room to judge whatsoever. You can go ahead and kick it off with the 4th overall pick in this year's draft. And it is going to go to Mr. Kress. For those of you who don't know Mr. Kress, he's my cousin Tony's buddy. And if you ever forget his name, just call him Lawrence. He tends to mesh well with that. So yeah, we'll go with that. We got 4 dead, 5 to go. Actually, it's number 5. We got 8 to go. So the number 5th pick in this year's draft is looking like... Fuck. It's me. I don't really like the middle pick, so if anybody in front of me or behind me wants to move up or move back, let's figure it out. Because I don't really like who's there at the 5. For the number 6 pick in this year's draft, we have Brian. I know we got this little fantasy free agent rule where after we hit X amount, you got to pay X amount of money. I don't know if he does it on purpose, but every single year he's got exactly 10. Never seen him go over once. For the 7th pick in this year's fantasy football draft, we are looking at, to start off the second half, Bill. I think Bill has honestly scored the most points in the league, either in a week or for the whole year, like 2 out of the last 3 years. So if anybody talks with Bill, let's see if we can find out his secret and pry a little bit of his knowledge. Coming up on the 8th pick in this year's draft, we are looking at Crowbar. For those of you who don't know Crowbar, He was actually in the league, I believe, 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 2 years ago. I don't know, somewhere between 2 and 5 years ago. And he played Anthony in the championship, and I think he beat him. Maybe he didn't. But he had a lot of good players. Anywho, he's taking over for Dan this year. He's taking a little hiatus, so let's kick it off with the last 4 picks in the draft. The 9th pick in this year's draft is Nar. For those of you who didn't witness it, last year, I think Nar's computer died, his phone died, his car ran out of gas. I don't know, maybe he had to drop his girlfriend off at the train. There was some excuse, but he autoed the first 2, and he felt it all year, so if he doesn't do that this time, I think he's going to be a fierce competitor. Now we're looking at the 10th pick in this year's draft with 3 names left. The riches go to Tony. I know you say it every year between baseball and football. You always seem to end up in like the back 6 or the back 4. I don't know what it is, but you seem to do a lot better in baseball this year, so I think you can carry it over to football, and you have some pretty good success. We got 2 names left, and there's 2 spots left. So if you whisper real quick which spot you want, I'll give it to you. Between the last 2 picks in this year's draft, the 11th pick goes to Anthony. Whatever we do, we can't let this kid win. Because whenever he wins, we never hear the end of it. He'll find you some way. He'll find you on Facebook. He'll find you on Snapchat. He'll send you a video, even if you're not on social media. So that may be the number 1 goal of this year. Just don't let him pull it off. And obviously, last pick. There's only 1 left. Just to show I didn't Jew anybody. Charles. I know you did that Vampire League last year, so I'm sure some of that knowledge is going to pay off, and this is probably honestly like already your 7th or 8th one this year, so not really too worried. But you'll be able to handle your own, because normally I'm in the dust watching you scale up there to the top 4. So just a quick recap. With the first pick, we have Justin. Second pick, we have Dolan. Third pick, we have Kohler. Fourth pick, Mr. Kress, a.k.a. Lawrence. Fifth pick, myself. 6th pick, Brian. 7th pick, Bill. 8th pick, Newbie Crowbar. 9th pick, Nar. 10th pick, Tony. 11th pick, Anthony, also Tony. And the last pick, but the first pick in the 2nd round. And the 4th, and the 6th, and the 8th, and the 10th. Sir Charles himself. So, I know it's not a lot of time, but at least you got 48 hours, 2 days. We'll round up, round down an hour. Who gives a shit? 8 p.m. Wednesday. Don't be later. You're going to pull an hour. All right. Good luck.